Now we are going to observe the details about the pyramidal tract or corticospinal tract. So you can follow this image. आप यहाँ पर देख रहे हैं that this is the coronal section of the brain and from the different part of the cortex, mainly the area number 4, but also contributed by the area number 6 and other areas. Mainly these fibers arises from the pyramidal cells of beds. That's why these are known as the pyramidal tract. Also one another explanation that these are passing from the pyramid of medulla. That's why this tract is known as pyramidal tract. Now they are making radiation like bundle. That's why this is known as corona radiata. Then all the fibers are getting converged at a single point known as internal capsule. Now these all the fibers are coming down from the above and reaching to the midbrain. In the midbrain, they are passing from the front part of the midbrain, which is known as the cerebral peduncle or crus cerebri. We will again study in midbrain part. Then these are coming down, passing front part of the pons, basilar part. Then they passes front part of the medulla. Can you follow the image? When they are passing the front part of the medulla, near the lower part of the medulla, approximately 80% fibers are crossing to the opposite side, and same type of the fibers they are crossing from another side. So at this lower part of the medulla, there is a crossing of the fiber. This crossing of the fiber is known as pyramidal decussation. Very important point to remember. Now try to observe that when these fibers are crossing, then they are making the bundle. They are making bundle on the lateral side of the spinal cord. That's why these are known as lateral. These fibers are coming down from the cortex to the spinal cord. That's a corticospinal tract. Now you can observe when these fibers are reaching down and they have to supply the skeletal muscle, then what they are doing, they are giving one single fiber ending. Okay, so whatever the nerve fiber which is above this level, that is known as upper motor neuron, and any kind of the damage in this pathway above this cell, that is known as upper motor neuron paralysis. Now from the same shown level, there is another neuron is taking origin. So here you can see in anterior horn of the spinal cord, the cell is located which is known as simply the anterior horn cell, and from here another neuron is taking origin and supplying to the different muscles of the body. So from this anterior horn cell, whatever the neuron is passing, that is known as lower motor neuron, and lesion to this lower motor neuron is known as lower motor neuron paralysis. Okay, so we are going to understand these points in detail by diagrammatic presentation. One more thing you can observe here, that the maximum fibers are crossing, but few fibers are not crossing and they are passing from the anterior side of the spinal cord. These bundle of axon which are passing from the anterior side of the spinal cord, coming from the cortex to the spinal cord. That's why anterior corticospinal tract. Now you can again observe that single fiber is coming and it is crossing the midline, then it is again ending at the anterior horn cell. So it also participates in control of the anterior horn cell as well as lower motor neuron. So now we are going to draw the diagrammatic presentation. Suppose this is the coronal section of the brain showing the cortex. Diagrammatic presentation, this is showing the midbrain, then here is the pons, and this lower dilatation is showing the medulla, and on the lateral aspect you can draw the cerebellum also. So these structures are showing the brain stem part. Now in this medulla, there is a midline elevation known as pyramid. So this is the pyramid, while the lateral elevation is known as olive. Okay, diagrammatic presentation. Suppose this is the medulla, and here we are presenting the central canal, the gray matter and the white matter. Okay, now for the proper understanding, we are going to draw the two different level of the spinal cord. So suppose this is the one level, gray matter and white matter we are drawing. Suppose these are two different spinal segment of our central nervous system. So now one by one we are going to describe few labelings for the proper understanding. This is midbrain, here is pons, here is medulla. This fern tree like appearing structure is showing the cerebellum, and this is cerebral cortex. These are various labelings. Now we are starting how this corticospinal tract is running. So the corticospinal tracts, they are taking origin from the pyramidal cells of the beds. Mainly they are arising from the pyramidal cells of the beds. Suppose these are pyramidal cells of the beds, which are mainly located at area number 4, which is also known as the motor area. Area number 6, premotor area. Also few fibers takes origin from the area number 3, 1, 2, sensory area. But mainly these fibers are originating from this motor area, and now they are making rays like arrangement of the fiber, which is known as corona radiata. So this bundle is known as corona radiata. So the fibers are arising from the motor area, premotor area, then they are making the corona radiata. Now this all the fibers are compacting and making, they are passing through the very small capsule like structure located at the base of the brain, known as internal capsule. We will see in detail the internal capsule later, but try to understand. These all the fibers are coming, and now they all are passing from the posterior limb of the internal capsule, diagrammatic presentation, and then they are passing through the anterior part of the midbrain from the crus cerebri. Then they are passing from the anterior part of the pons, basal part of the pons. Then these all the fibers are crossing the medulla, yes, from the pyramid, because they are passing through the pyramid. That's why this tract is known as pyramidal tract. So this central elevation is the pyramid, as I shown you in the previous image. Now among this 100% of the fiber, approximately 80% fibers, they are crossing the midline and making bundle of axon on the lateral part of the spinal cord. That's why this bundle of axon on the lateral side of the spinal cord is known as lateral corticospinal tract. So this bundle of axon is known as lateral corticospinal tract. This all the fibers are running through the lateral part of the spinal cord. That's why bundle is always formed on the lateral aspect. So do the three-dimensional orientation, three-dimensional observation. Yes. So here is a lateral corticospinal tract. Getting the point? Okay. Now when this fiber, they have to supply any muscle. Suppose this brown color structure is showing the muscle fiber. So how they will supply, how the single nerve will supply this muscle? Try to understand. Yes, this tract is going downside to supply the various muscles of the body. But when suppose it has to supply this particular muscle, among them one fiber is coming on the anterior horn. Okay. Now from the anterior horn, one another neuron is starting and it is supplying the muscle. Getting the point? So here the cell body, if of this lower motor neuron, cell body of this particular neuron is known as anterior horn cell. What is the name of this cell? This is known as anterior horn cell. Now in short we will mention this cell as AHC. Okay, so the fiber from anterior horn cell to the muscle is known as lower motor neuron. In short, now we will write down as LMN, while the fiber from the cortex up to this anterior horn cell, that is known as upper motor neuron. As you know, damage in this upper motor neuron is known as upper motor neuron paralysis, and damage to this lower motor neuron is known as lower motor neuron paralysis. We will see these cases in detail later. Now again try to understand that 80% fibers are crossing to the opposite side, but 20% fibers does not crosses. Recent books they are mentioning as 15% of the fiber. So just see here, same phenomena will occur also on the opposite side. So the opposite fibers which are coming and passing through the pyramid, and then 80% fibers are again crossing the midline, and they are reaching to the lateral side of the spinal cord. Again they are making the lateral corticospinal tract on the lateral aspect. So you can observe again, here is the formation of the lateral corticospinal tract. But what I want to tell you that this crossing of the fiber at the midline, 80% fibers they are crossing the midline, and this crossing of the fiber at the lower part of the pyramid known as pyramidal, and they are crossing, that's why this is known as decussation. So this is the pyramidal decussation. Very important question. Remember, this pyramidal decussation is formed by the motor nerve fiber, descending fiber crossing. That's why these are also known as, because it is formed by the motor tract, that's why this is also known as motor decussation. Very important question. This motor decussation is formed by the lateral corticospinal tract which are crossing the midline. Now we are going to see how the anterior corticospinal tract is formed, because it will run from the anterior side. It is coming from the cortex to the spinal cord. That's the anterior corticospinal tract. Just observe this diagram. When these fibers are coming down, the pyramidal tracts they are coming down, among them approximately 80%, 75%, or few books mention 70% fibers they are crossing to the opposite side, but few fibers from them they are not crossing. I am showing these fibers with the help of blue color. Few fibers are coming from the same pathway, but they are not crossing the midline, but they are descending down from the front side, and they are making bundle on the front part of the medulla. And when they are coming down, again they are making the bundle of axon. Only 20% or 25%, few books says 15%, we are saying 20%. 20% fibers they are making the bundle of axon on the anterior side of the spinal cord. So when these fibers are coming down, always they will pass from the anterior side of the spinal cord. Try to think in three-dimensional view. Yes, these are making bundle of axon on the anterior part, and again these fibers are going down to supply the other muscles. But when this nerve has to supply the nearby muscle, then what will happen? Single nerve fiber will arise and it will cross the midline, and again it is relaying the same anterior horn cell which was getting controlled by the lateral corticospinal tract fiber. Okay, So now it is also controlling the same entry horn cell. So this is the pathway of the anterior, because these are situated on the anterior side, that's why anterior corticospinal tract. What we have to remember, that this is formed by 20% uncrossed fibers. So this is the entire pathway of the lateral corticospinal tract as well as anterior corticospinal tract. After the proper understanding of this corticospinal tract, now we are going to see the applied part of this descending tract, that is the upper motor neuron paralysis and lower motor neuron paralysis. Yes, now we are going to understand the motor neuron disease or motor neuron paralysis. In short, we will mention as MNP. Also we can say motor neuron disease, also you can say MND. Okay, so first thing, what is the paralysis? Paralysis definition: loss of motor activity is known as paralysis. Okay, so suppose, yes, this movement is the motor activity. If I am unable to perform this motor activity, means this is the paralysis. If anybody is asking, if my cortex is sending the order to the muscles and asking the muscle to contract, to do movement, but my muscles are not able to contract according to the order of my brain, then it is known as the paralysis. In layman language, normal भाषा में इसे हम लकवा मारना भी कहते हैं. So we are going to see this. Okay, so this motor neuron paralysis is two types: upper motor neuron paralysis and lower motor neuron paralysis. Also you can say motor neuron disease as upper motor neuron disease and lower motor neuron disease. Okay, so what is the upper motor neuron paralysis according to the definition? Yes, damage to pyramidal tract above the entry horn cell. Remember, pyramidal tract का डैमेज है, lateral corticospinal tract का डैमेज है, but where above the entry horn cell, this is known as upper motor neuron paralysis. And we already seen what is the definition of the upper motor neuron. The motor neuron, the pyramidal tract above the entry horn cell is known as upper motor neuron, और इसका अगर डैमेज हो जाता है तो इसे हम अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन पैरालिसिस कहते हैं. ओके, एंड अनदर फैक्ट व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर, डैमेज टू अपर मोटर न्यूरॉन is known as upper motor neuron paralysis, while the lower motor neuron paralysis, damage to pyramidal tract, especially you can say lateral corticospinal tract, but what you have to remember, at or below anterior horn cell, and remember, yes, it is the damage to lower motor neuron. So this is the difference. Now we are going to see what are the different kind of the clinical manifestations in this upper and the lower motor neuron paralysis. So again we are going to draw the image and going to take proper understanding. Now for the proper understanding of the upper motor neuron paralysis and the lower motor neuron paralysis, we are again going to look for the same diagram. Here you can see, yes, this is the diagrammatic presentation of the same lateral corticospinal tract. Okay, now what is happening, this lateral corticospinal tract is descending through the spinal cord from the lateral white column, but when it has to supply any particular muscle, it is giving one single fiber which is supplying to the anterior horn cell of that level. Above this anterior horn cell, as we have already discussed, that is known as upper motor neuron, while the nerve below this anterior horn cell is known as lower motor neuron. Okay, now try to understand what is the extrapyramidal tract. See here, extrapyramidal tract, as I told you, two types: extrapyramidal tract stimulatory and another one is extrapyramidal tract inhibitory. It also controls the pyramidal tract activity. Try to understand. This body is like the bus and the brain is like the driver. So driver, brain, or you can say pyramidal tract, it is driving the our body or bus. But this extra pyramidal tract, which is mainly participated by the basal nuclei and the cerebellum, they are like the conductor. Yes, what is the function of the conductor in the bus? That conductor is responsible for the coordination, balanced movement, speed of the bus, or you can say the body. So the extra pyramidal tract, it supports the pyramidal tract like conductor supports the driver to drive the bus. So now what is happening? This extra pyramidal tract is just running like the pyramidal tract, or you can say corticospinal tract. So I am going to draw this extra pyramidal tract with the two types of the fiber, stimulatory and inhibitory. Yes, try to understand. Using blue color, extra pyramidal tract is also coming with the pyramidal tract. But what happens among this extra pyramidal tract inhibitory is in close relation with the our upper motor neuron, lateral corticospinal tract, and it is also coming down. It is also running with the our lateral corticospinal tract. But when it has to supply any particular muscle, yes, the fiber is also supplying the entry horn cell. Getting the point? So this is the extra pyramidal tract, the fiber which is closely in relation with the upper motor neuron. That is the upper motor neuron. The fibers of the extra pyramidal tract which are very close to the lateral corticospinal tract, they are known as extra pyramidal tract inhibitory fiber, while one another set of the fiber is there using the green color. These fibers are comparatively away. These fibers are comparatively away from the lateral corticospinal tract, but they are also controlling the entry horn cell. Means what I want to tell you, that this entry horn cell is having the multiple control by the pyramidal tract, and pyramidal tract is supported by the extra pyramidal tract. Again, this extra pyramidal tract is having the two types, extra pyramidal tract inhibitory, which is shown with the blue color, but one more fiber is there, that is under the extra pyramidal tract stimulatory. So these are the two types of the fiber of the extra pyramidal tract. What is the function? Remember, every muscle tone, contractility is under control of this extra pyramidal tract. When any muscle is having the more contractile stimulation, the extra pyramidal tract inhibitory will stimulate, okay, and it will maintain the tone of the muscle. If due to any cause the muscle tone is suppressed, muscle tone is comparatively less contractile stage, then extra pyramidal tract stimulatory will stimulate and it will increase the tone. That's why every muscle is having one proper tone. What I'm telling you, this extra pyramidal tract stimulatory and extra pyramidal tract inhibitory, both are responsible for maintaining the tone of the muscle. Suppose if extra pyramidal tract stimulatory is more stimulated, then there is the more release of the acetylcholine, and as you know from the physiology that acetylcholine is responsible for the muscle tone maintenance. So the muscle tone is increased, and when the extra pyramidal tract inhibitory is more in power, extra pyramidal tract inhibitory is more stimulated, then acetylcholine release is decreased, so muscle becomes loose, that is the flaccidity. Getting the point? So what I want to tell you, that extra pyramidal tract inhibitory is running with the pyramidal tract, while the extra pyramidal tract stimulatory is comparatively away. So this is the one theoretical concept to understand the upper and the lower motor neuron paralysis. Okay, now see, whenever there is the damage, using brown color, yes, so whenever there is the upper motor neuron paralysis, what is the upper motor neuron paralysis? Yes, damage to the upper motor neuron above the entry horn cell is known as upper motor neuron paralysis. So whenever there is a damage, so what is happening? Yes, this is indicating the upper motor neuron paralysis. damage of this descending tract, pyramidal tract above the anterior horn cell is known as the upper motor neuron paralysis. So here there is a damage to the lateral corticospinal tract fiber, but as well as there is a damage to the extra pyramidal tract inhibitory also. So extra pyramidal tract inhibitory has been damaged. तो अब क्या होगा, एक्स्ट्रा pyramidal tract stimulatory का इफेक्ट कंपैरेटिवली बढ़ जाएगा. कैन यू सी? यस, एक्स्ट्रा pyramidal tract stimulatory is not damaged, so it is continuous giving stimulation to the lower motor neuron. So now this lower motor neuron is highly excited and it is making more release of the acetylcholine. That's why it is responsible for the increase in the tone. Means in case of the upper motor neuron paralysis, we will get hypertonia, and due to the increased tone, yes, there is the chances of the spasticity, rigidity. You will study in your physiology what is the difference between the spasticity and the rigidity. Yes, spasticity when there is the involvement of the one particular group, either the flexor or the extensor, and rigidity when both flexor and extensor, both groups are involved, then it is known as the rigidity. You will see better in physiology. But tone is increased, and due to the increased tone, all the muscles becomes tight. That's why that leads to the spasticity and rigidity. Now try to understand, because of this hypertonia, spasticity, rigidity, this all muscle is still contracting. That's why muscle atrophy will not occur. Yes, no muscle atrophy. Muscle atrophy does not occur, or if the muscle atrophy will occur, it will be later. Okay, now see here, there are damage of the upper motor neuron. That's why multiple fibers are getting damaged. That's why many muscles are involved. Yes, so what you have to remember, in this condition, upper motor neuron paralysis, many muscles are paralyzed, muscle group is involved. Getting the point? Okay, so this all the condition you will get. I will tell you one more thing later in a different diagram. Yes, because there is the no damage to the reflex pathway. You know the reflex pathway, how it is formed, I will tell you in different diagram. Yes, there is a receptor, then efferent which is going to the spinal cord. Yes, here is the receptor reflex pathway. Then second is the efferent for the reflex pathway. Third is the center. Fourth is the efferent. So this nerve will act as the efferent, and last one is the effector, which is the muscle. So here is the effector. Getting the point? So when there is a damage to this upper motor neuron paralysis, then there is the no damage to the receptor, no damage to the efferent nerve, no damage to the center, no damage to the efferent, no damage to the effector, because the lesion is above this reflex pathway. That's why the reflex will be normal. Yes, reflex will be normal, but extrapyramidal tract stimulatory is still normal. So suppose you are doing pin pricking sensation, so due to the extrapyramidal tract stimulatory activity, the muscles will show too much response. That is known as the hyperreflexia. So what I want to tell you, in this upper motor neuron paralysis, reflex is normal, or even you can say hyperreflexia. Reflex response will be increased. Okay, so these all are the various points which you have to remember in upper motor neuron paralysis. Okay, another point which you know, that Babinski sign. Babinski sign is positive. What is the Babinski sign? Hope you are aware about the Babinski sign. Suppose this is the toe. Okay, so in physiology practical we perform in the plantar reflex. What we do, with the help of the blunt object, we scratch over the lateral border of the sole, then we scratch towards the great toe. In that condition, what happens? There is the flexion of the all the toes. In local language, you can remember, जब हम पैर में गुदगुदी करते हैं तो सारी उंगलियां जो होती है वो नीचे की तरफ मुड़ जाती है. दिस इज नोन एज नॉर्मल प्लांटर रिफ्लेक्स. दिस इज नोन एज नॉर्मल plantar reflex. Okay, but in case of the upper motor neuron paralysis, opposite phenomena occurs. What is the opposite phenomena? Yes, try to understand. Great toe will go opposite and other toes will also go to the opposite direction. This is known as fanning of toes. Getting the point? Yes. So this is the fanning of the toes. This is found in case of the upper motor neuron paralysis. This phenomena is known as Babinski's sign positive. Also you can say this Babinski sign positive is equal to abnormal plantar reflex. Getting the point? Okay. Also it is asked in your viva question in physiology. You have to study this all in the physiology. This is the just anatomy correlation with the physiology. What you have to remember, that in case of the little baby where all the upper motor neurons are not getting proper myelination, then again this Babinski sign is positive in normal baby. इसका कारण क्या है? Because the little baby up to the 1 year they are not getting proper myelination of the upper motor neuron. That's why. So you will study this all the things in your physiology. जबकि अब हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन पैरालिसिस, उसमें Babinski sign हमें नेगेटिव मिलेगा. ओके, सो यस, जस्ट सी द लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन पैरालिसिस. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द लोअर मोटर न्यूरॉन पैरालिसिस. As you can see in this image, that lateral cortico-spinal tract is coming from above to the spinal cord segments and it is going downside. But when it has to supply any particular muscle, then one single fiber is coming and it is supplying the anterior horn cells, and from here the another lower motor neuron is coming and which is supplying to the muscle. Now see what is the definition of the lower motor neuron paralysis. Yes, if there is the damage in this anterior horn cell or lower motor neuron, then it is known as lower motor neuron paralysis. Now see, if there is a damage to the lower motor neuron, then what will happen? The muscle is not getting any kind of the nerve. Means the life of the muscle is totally end. Okay, so what will happen? In case of the lower motor neuron paralysis, there is a total denervation of the nerve. That's why the muscle is losing its total life. That's why the tone of the muscle will decrease, because every end of the lower motor neuron they are releasing the acetylcholine, and acetylcholine is not released, then this acetylcholine is responsible for the muscle tone. So there is no acetylcholine, that's why muscle tone is decreased, and due to the muscle tone decrease, the muscle will become very loose, which is known as the flaccidity. That's why in lower motor neuron paralysis we get the flaccid type paralysis. Okay, so there is the muscle flaccidity, as well as because the total nerve is destroyed, so muscle is not surviving. That's why muscular atrophy is seen immediately. Getting the point? So muscle atrophy will be seen. Now see what will happen with the reflex. Just compare with the upper motor neuron paralysis. Their tone was increased, there was not flaccidity, there was the spastic type of the paralysis. Muscle spasticity was found, and yes, there was muscle atrophy was not seen. If it is seen, it is seen at a very later stage, but here the muscle atrophy is present immediately. And you can see here one more point, that one particular nerve is damaged, so particular single muscle is involved, while in upper motor neuron paralysis all different kind of the nerves along with the extrapyramidal tract was involved. That's why the group of the muscles were involved, but here single muscle is involved. Okay, now try to identify other feature. Yes, as you aware about the reflex pathway, that any reflex pathway is having the few components. What are the components of the any reflex pathway? Suppose we are making one pin pricking sensation, and then these sensations are carried by the receptor. फिर receptor से ये sensation afferent nerve के through जाएगा, so afferent nerve, and now these impulse are reaching to the center. In this case, spinal cord is the center. Then through the lower motor neuron, the impulse is reaching to the effector, or you can say muscle, and then there is the contraction of the muscle. So if there is a damage to the lower motor neuron, paralysis, if there is a damage to the lower motor neuron, then there is a totally damage to this reflex pathway. Yes, which component is damaged? Efferent component is damaged. So now in this condition, what will happen? There will be areflexia. So due to the damage of this nerve, we will get loss of reflex, which is known as the areflexia. So these are the various point which you can remember. Okay, and Babinski sign you will study in physiology. Babinski sign is positive in upper motor neuron paralysis, but here Babinski sign will be negative because extrapyramidal tract is not involved here. And also you will study in physiology one condition that is known as clonus, pendular jerky movement. That is the clonus. So clonus is present in case of the upper motor neuron paralysis, while in lower motor neuron paralysis it is absent. Why? Again, answer is the due to effect of the extrapyramidal tract stimulatory. Okay, so you will see that physiology part in physiology, but now we are going to make comparison between upper motor neuron paralysis and the lower motor neuron paralysis after studying all the both situations separately. So here is the one tabular form for the differences between upper motor neuron paralysis and lower motor neuron paralysis. So what are the various difference between this upper motor neuron paralysis and lower motor neuron paralysis? So one by one. First point is the definition. As we know after the proper description that damage to the upper motor neuron paralysis, damage to the lower motor neuron, while the damage to the lower motor neuron is lower motor neuron paralysis. Yes, extrapyramidal tract involvement, as we have already seen that in upper motor neuron paralysis, extrapyramidal tract is damaged, mainly the extrapyramidal tract inhibitory part, while the lower motor neuron paralysis, there is no damage to the extrapyramidal tract. Next, site of lesion. So in upper motor neuron paralysis, the injury was and in between from the cortex up to the anterior horn cell. In upper motor neuron paralysis, injury was in between cortex up to the anterior horn cell, but anterior horn cell is not involved. While lower motor neuron paralysis, it is defined as injury at anterior horn cell or below to it. Next, number of muscles affected. So in upper motor neuron paralysis, group of the muscles are involved, while in lower motor neuron paralysis, single muscle is involved. And what about the tone? So in upper motor neuron paralysis, hypertonia due to the intact fibers of the extrapyramidal tract stimulatory fibers, while hypotonia or atonia in case of the lower motor neuron paralysis due to total damage to the lower motor neuron. Then type of paralysis. So in upper motor neuron paralysis, there is the spasticity is found, while lower motor neuron paralysis, flaccidity is found. Now what about the power? Yes, there is no loss of the power of the muscle in case of upper motor neuron paralysis, while there is a loss of power in case of the lower motor neuron paralysis is seen. Now muscle atrophy, we have already seen this point that it is absent in case of upper motor neuron paralysis, while it is present in lower motor neuron paralysis. Now what about the reflexes? In case of the upper motor neuron paralysis, hyperreflexia is found, while in case of lower motor neuron paralysis, areflexia is seen. Babinski sign, yes, we have seen that it is positive in case of upper motor neuron paralysis, while negative in case of lower motor neuron paralysis. And clonus, pendulous jerky movement, it is present in case of the upper motor neuron paralysis, while it is absent in case of lower motor neuron paralysis. So these are the various differences between this upper and the lower motor neuron paralysis.